ahead, Dion. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You're good. So when they ask that why question, that's the part that you're being graded on, is the answer to the why, not what task you pick, the answer to the why. So if all you've got is, well, because they need to balance over their outside ski, that may work at level 1. And depending on who you get, that may work at level 2. If you get Jim, that'll probably work at level 2. It won't work at level 3. You need more. So this is where we're trying to dig for that little bit more of technical understanding. Or at least, I think you have the technical understanding. It's just, we now need to verbalize it and make it really concrete. You know it because you use it when you teach. You just don't verbalize it and don't tie it. You stick with the low-hanging fruit. Well, let's add some seasoning to our fruit. Add some sauce. Make it a pie.
And that's why we're really restricting it down to a specific task. And we're giving you the ski performance. We're not asking you for that. I'm going to ask you for, show me why that ski performance is happening, which is more of like maybe a tie into the body performance. But tonight we're really going to be focusing on, actually, I have a better graphic than this one. We're going to be focusing on the, we're going to give you some stuff, right? We're going to give you the part, we're going to give you the observed ski performance. And we may even tie in a little bit of the body performance, even though that should be something that's you should be able to tie in normally. I would still like to hear from you. Hold on, Katie. I'll give me just a second to finish my thought, and then we'll go ahead and I'll answer your question. And then we're going to give you a task. And what we want to do is we want to say, okay, we know what the observed body performance is. We know what the task is that we're trying to do. Can we backtrack in both directions and say, okay, this particular task is targeting this particular movement based on maybe a fundamental or two, probably a fundamental or two. For bonus, it'd be really nice if you could tie in a common thread. And for extra credit, extra bonus, it'd be really cool if you could tell me how you would modify the task to achieve a more narrow targeted movement. Yes? Katie, you had a question. Go ahead. I know you've been gone a while and you've been kind of listening in online.
Yeah. Hey, I have a question for what Dion said. So I just pulled up the IDP for the outside ski turn. So if that examiner says, well, why are you giving them an outside ski turn? Is that something you would then go to and say, well,
Yeah,
give an example
100%.
from that IDP? So like,
Why did you, that's the first question they always ask you is, why did you do what you did? That's
I guess
the number one
I'm just
question.
looking for language, right? So if
Yeah.
the
So
So
language
they're
is
going to say, hey, why did you do, in my particular case, why did you do power wedge turns? Short radius, high performance power wedges. And the easy
so
answer is, this is the performance I was looking for. These are the problems they had in their turn. And this is why I was targeting it with this particular piece. Right. And I'm looking for this particular movement, and the progression I did allowed them to really feel that movement. So they knew where it was happening in the turn. And that task forced them to do that. That's the language I would have said.
and
but I
then
think you
I'm
also
gonna
know what
go,
the IDP is for that for the outside ski turn too, right?
you should always, if you're going to use a task from the IDP, you should always be familiar with the ski performance that's described in the IDP. Don't get too hung up on where it classifies a particular maneuver as far as this one's for edging, this one's for rotating. Don't get too hung up on that. But be really familiar with that ski performance that's described. Because there's some little nuggets in there that are, it's like 1 or 2 words, But if your maneuver doesn't have those in it, you don't pass. Even though you're performing something that looks really close to an outside ski turn. The inside foot is off the ground. But like when the edge change occurs, because there's a difference between level 2 and level 3 outside ski turns. So the dirt pieces that it puts into that IDP, those give you some clues on what more that task will generate for you.
Okay.
So it's not just, oh, I want you to stand on your outside ski. I can get a lot more out of an outside ski turn than just standing over one foot rather than the other. So there's an edging piece with the edge change. There's a body performance associated with it that's in the IDP. So using those things to justify your choice, that's solid technical knowledge. Because there's way more to any one of these maneuvers than just the main, I'm going to call it highlighted focus. And that's
Okay.
kind of where we're trying to go, is starting to look from just some discussions that Gumby and I have had about things to try during this clinic, is see if we can get you guys to start to see relationships between IDP tasks that may not be really obvious. Until you start thinking about the exact ski performance you're wanting to have all the way around from initiation to finish.
Cool. Any other questions before we get started? By the way, this graphic is like my own invention, so I will take all responsibility for it. Just don't share it to anybody who's upper level. But this is the teaching cycle and the way I see it in terms of MA. And as we change, you know, whatever decisions that we make as an instructor, and we're trying to get them to do stuff, and we're trying to attack them from a movement, motivation, understanding level to adopt to a specific situation, we're always looking and saying, hey, is this change happening? If it's not happening, how can we change what we do in order to get that movement to happen? So it's always moving. Right? That's the reason why I did this. Cool. All right, you ready for the first skier? We're going to go ahead and do an example of what we're kind of looking for tonight. And we did not practice this. So, and it was kind of last second. I'm usually, like I said, I'm usually like way more buttoned up in this. I usually try to think of all contingencies. This is more like fly by the seat of my pants right now. So, so we're going to go ahead and go through it. Cool. All right. You want to go ahead and give the ski performance, or, you know?
Are we supposed to be seeing something, Chuck?
Oh, we're going to be seeing something. Yes.
Okay.
But we
I
only
see
get to
you
see it. We
and
only get to
everybody
see
else.
it. We only get to see it once. And do you have a task in mind? And you're on mute.
You're on mute, Dion.
Thank you. Say hi.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, what's up, Josh?
Sorry guys, I forgot the mute button. Gumby, current task or task I'm going to have them do?
Current task is short turns.
Current task is
Task that
performance
you-
short turns.
Yeah, that's the current task, but that's the situation. We want to improve their short radius turns.
And I have a task, yes, but I'm
And
going to
then
get to
we
the
have a
task
task.
last because that's how
All
my
right,
brain
cool.
works.
Yeah, groovy. I like it.
Okay. For this skier, the skis turn faster above the fall line and slower below the fall line through the finish of the turn until they stop turning. The ski edges engage somewhere around the fall line abruptly and have their highest edge angle once they're mostly across the hill. The body has a quick extension of the knees at initiation, and that is coupled with a rapid twist of the hips and legs, moving the skis out to an edge.
Cool.
Questions about skier body performance? Is that enough, or did people want more?
I got a couple of thumbs up.
Dion,
Katie, good?
So are you,
Wait.
I'm confused. Are you giving this to us and then we're going to come up with the performance that we're trying to change, or are you doing that?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so we're gonna give you
yes,
the,
but I'm going to
yes.
give you the skier. I'm going to let you watch it, and then I'm going to give you the. I actually picked a couple of tasks that I would have this skier do, and
Okay.
then you're going to tell me what ski performance and maybe where in the turn I was trying to change it.
can you tell
Okay.
us something about the shoulders?
I'm going to let you watch.
Okay,
That's why we had a request last week of somebody to watch. This is the part we're looking for here.
Hey, Gumby, you need to give me permission.
All right, Will. This is the part we're looking for here. Yeah? We're looking for the new body performance, the new ski performance based on the task. Okay? And maybe a little bit more about the observed would be nice too. Okay? Body performance. If you see something different,
Oh,
hold that
oh,
thought. All right.
that's yours. Oh,
All right. So here comes the
Oh.
skier. Where'd she go? Oh, there she is. All right. All right. Ready? Set.
okay. Did everybody see that?
Yeah.
So the tasks I would have this skier do from the IDP, so you guys can even look up the ski performances if you want to read those, is I would do a reverse javelin turn. And I would do railroad track turns, but in a most flexed position. So alternate description could be tuck turns. For those of you who have more of a racing background. And yes, to make Scott happy, I would be doing an outside ski turn, but I would be doing it in a short radius and we would be doing it skidded.
Throw that in the chat for me real quick, if you could. You got it written down somewhere, Dion?
I do.
Yeah, let's throw it in the chat.
No
So does
negative
this-
points for spelling, please.
Does a ski performance to you guys jive with what you saw? I know it's
Yes.
a really, really high level skier. It's Zoe. I think it's Zoe, isn't it? National team member. You know,
Before she was, if it's a national team member, this is before they were a national
I
team
think
member.
it's probably. I think it was before. It's a Dusty Dyer video from a couple of years ago. Four years ago. Still great skiing.
All right, so what are we doing now? Are we thinking or are we?
No, this is our example, okay? So we
Okay.
have reverse javelin turns.
Yeah,
We have a tuck turn, but it's in a railroad track position. And we have a short radius. Oh, no, and you had short radius skidded outside ski turns. So the idea is to give you an idea of what the new body performance is going to be. That's going to result in a new ski performance. Reverse javelin is when you, so you lift up the outside ski and you point the inside ski more down the hill early in the turn. And really what it's for is to create a body position that is more countered at the end of the old turn and beginning of the new turn. So I think this
If
is where I
people
got,
need more description of what a reverse javelin turn is, I have a video I can share.
Perfect.
yeah, let's go ahead and show that real quick so they know what it is. Here, oh, I got to put the old, I got to tell you to be able to share, right?
It says I'm sharing.
All right, there you go. All right. Oh God, is that Scott? No, Adam.
No,
I
this is
hate
nobody
those.
with here from here.
But you see how the ski points down the hill? See how the ski points down the hill and it opens him up? It's to create this idea of counter early in the turn, even though this is, in my mind, is very manufactured.
This particular example is very manufactured, and there are a lot of things that I don't like about it, but we're not going to talk about those. We're going to talk about the body position here at initiation.
Mhm.
You're picking up your new inside ski while you are in a countered position. And with the leg relaxed, that ski should be mostly aiming where your pelvis is aiming. So somewhat down the fall line. It may not be exactly down the fall line because most of us don't actually twist our pelvis to be completely perpendicular to the fall line when we ski. That's the part that looks manufactured, is how much they are doing this. So in a javelin turn, I would expect the skis to be crossing each other at the finish. And in a reverse javelin, they are crossing each other at initiation. But both things are focusing on a countered body position.
So the new body performance for this particular skier is from these particular tasks that I see. The first task is to allow her to be balanced over the new outside ski, as well as maintain the counter at the initiation of the turn so she can engage the edges of the skis earlier in the turn instead of a high pivot angle that she's creating. So she can feel like she's getting that engagement higher in the arc and getting the tipping part done. The second task that she's doing is very explicit about creating, because it's a tuck turn is the way she's describing it. It's more of a, it's still a railroad track. And the idea is that she can tip the ski. She could tip the ski using her lower legs early in a turn so she can allow the ski to get that edging higher in the arc. So she's creating the tipping with her lower legs, which is tipping the ski higher in the arc and allowing her to pull it around. And then the last one is a short radius skidded outside ski turn. The reason why she's skidding it is that so she could feel like she's controlling that tipping motion of the body that allows the skis to tip more or less throughout the turn.
What common thread was I going for?
It could be a number of them. I'm gonna probably say that you're looking for a stable upper body creates lower body mobility. But you could also think of it in terms of flexion extension movements allow for lateral movement from side to side. Or
I always
moving the
find this
center of
part
mass from
super
side to side.
interesting because it reveals our biases instantaneously.
Yeah,
I was actually aiming at maintaining counter through transition,
yeah, maintaining counter through trade. Well, and
which
for me,
you,
that's
if you don't
almost,
do that, you don't have a stable upper body.
yeah,
So
and it's true. I mean, it's kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't. You're not gonna have a stand. And I probably should have picked up on that because that's basically what I was saying in every one of these. So, yeah, that they're all interrelated. So it's hard to kind of pin it down. So if I was going to modify the task, I would probably take the tuck turns and turn them into a very specific side hill action where she has to do those railroad tracks both up the hill slightly and then down the hill slightly. And then turn her around and bring her back the other way where, the idea of those railroad tracks on a side hill is that you have to shape the turn the same way in both directions. That would allow her, okay, it's going to turn a lot faster when you're going up the hill, but when you're going down the hill, you have to kind of slow the movement down just enough so that you're still getting the same size turn on both sides. So that's an adjustment that I might look at to help her shape the top of the turn. Yay, nay?
I'm going to buy your logic on that.
Cool.
I went with the reason I picked the tuck turn is because if your legs are short and you're focused on maintaining them as short as you can, notice I didn't say they will stay exactly the same length because they don't. But if I focus on trying to stay as short as I can't extend and shove my skis away from me to put them on edge. I have to keep the skis under my body if I have to stay short. Does that make sense to people? I could have also very in the same way used a crab walk where you actually switch edges so that you're right over your ski when you switch edges. I happen to like that really short movement for high level skiers because we all tend to have a little bit of an up and push. Tends to be the besetting sin of upper level skiers. As to why a skidded short radius turn on an outside ski changes the body performance. When I carve an outside ski turn, or it's more carved, and I have a larger radius, it allows me to bring in movements that are less efficient because I have enough forces to balance against that will catch me. Momentum and speed will save you until you have to go slowly. So if I have to go slowly, my accuracy has to go up. If I'm not allowed to carve it, I reduce the amount of overall forces that I have at any one part of the turn. And I'm forced to spread we'll use Gumby's turn, spread the grip out along the whole turn instead of just having grip in the bottom half. And without a whole lot of forces to act against and a whole lot of speed, I have to stay on top of my ski and use my body correctly, or I will fall over. Would I ask an intermediate skier to do a skidded outside ski turn? No, this is not an intermediate skier. I would
No,
definitely
no.
expect a skier of this caliber. They might struggle with it at first to be able to accomplish this task. And they would have to learn something about their own body performance in that struggle. And that's where understanding changes. It changes during the struggle. You want to look back at all those nice kids models about learning, the struggle to complete a task is an inherent part of successful learning. So if it's too easy, we don't learn anything from it.
Yeah, I'm reading a book about that right now. And the whole point of the book is it needs to be hard. It needs to be a challenge, because if it's not a challenge, learning doesn't happen. So looking at this skier and the description of the modifications that we did, does this make sense? Does anybody have any questions? Laura has a question. I love it.
So where I am, when Dion was describing, I
Mhm.
felt really good about, okay, I can hear what she's getting at. I can see that. So I felt good about that.
Mhm.
And I also felt good about when you were talking about the tasks and why those tasks would be helpful.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm just not good enough yet at seeing, but when I'm looking at her, I'm still just seeing good skier. But okay, so now that we've gotten to see her, a few times,
Mhm.
I think if I could say, so I think one of the things you were saying is she had a quick knee extension and then and pushes the skis out away from her quickly in
Yes,
the,
Dion said that. The
Dion
skis,
said that. Okay.
right.
I guess I can see that now
Mhm.
that the top of her turn is more sudden and that the
Mhm.
edging is happening because her skis are being pushed away from her a little, and that happens because her knees have a quick extension. Is that a reasonable summary of part of what you said?
Yes, and I want to
Okay.
build on that because I picked this particular skier because I wanted to use her as an example. But the first question I'm going to ask you is, how much change are we expected for her to make in a day? Are we going to have like, we taking her and all of a sudden she's going to be on a national team next, tomorrow?
No, because she'll still be in the associative stage tomorrow.
Well, yeah. Well, and how big a change are we looking for? If this is Zoe Davis or Mavis, sorry, if this is Zoe Mavis, how much change are we really looking for that particular day?
Oh, okay. So here's where we may not agree, Gumby.
Yeah.
I actually think the change is this big.
Yeah. Okay.
No, because
Now,
it's a
now you got to defend yourself.
completely different movement pattern.
Yes.
So I
But
think the
from-
change is not this big. I'm not asking her to adjust the dirt on a current movement pattern. I'm asking her to adopt a new movement pattern
Yes.
and
I agree.
explore the benefit or explore what you get from the new movement pattern.
And I'm going to agree. So this is a matter of perspective, and we can argue about this all day, right? But from her body of work, the change is very small because she's a very advanced skier. So she has a large body of work, right? A large body of knowledge. But we're only looking for minor little changes. Most of the people that we work with, the kids that we work with, the adults that we work with, we're looking for, they have a very limited amount of knowledge that they already have, and usually a much smaller body of work, even amongst ourselves. And we're we're expecting a bigger change, and that sometimes doesn't happen. So,
Can I ask a follow-up question?
yeah.
So if the old movement pattern was extend the knees quickly and that
Mhm.
pushes the skis out to their edge, the new movement pattern is, and that's my question, if you can
Cool.
restate the new movement
new
pattern.
movement, if you're just going to say the new movement pattern, and I'm hearing body performance, right?
Yes.
The new body performance is she's going to be more aligned over her outside ski. Her body is going to be more aligned over the outside ski, so it engages earlier.
Okay.
And she's going
Okay.
to
So
use her feet and lower legs
Yes.
begin the edging of her skis. And she's going to use her femurs to turn her skis rather than her hips.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
instead of
And I
pushing
actually
out,
can see
pushing out
that.
to rotate, instead of pushing out to rotate, she's going to be
Right.
rotating here.
Yep. And I can see her using her hips, pushing out to get her rotation. I can see
Yes.
that now.
Yes, it didn't, you know, these are very, very subtle things. I'm not
Right.
expecting you're not going to be coming up against something like this in your exam, right?
I hope
Right.
not.
Well, if you do,
Well,
you're going
actually,
to
with the new rules,
be.
depending on when you take your exam, all the levels, at least here in Rocky Mountain, you're looking at your fellow candidates.
Yeah,
Right. Oh no, yeah, no, I know I'm looking at my fellow candidates.
So you're not looking at a random skier on the hill, even
Right.
at level 2. You're looking at your fellow candidates,
Right.
which
No, that's how.
means if you are unlucky enough to have one of the wonderful Argentinians who have decided that they are going to get PSIA certs in your group, well, they still have to start at level 1
Right.
when they come over.
yeah.
So you
Yeah.
could have, well, you won't have Matthias this year because he's now a trainer, but you could have had Matthias, who's a member of the Argentinian demo team, to
Right.
do your MA on. At level 2, I'm assuming they didn't make anyone do him.
Yeah. They would pick somebody who would have been more achievable.
Yeah.
But I also want to remind you guys, MA is also just a description.
All right,
So
cool.
if all you do is describe Matthias, you're going to pass your MA. You're going to say, what do you want to change? You're going to say, nothing, man. I don't know. Can he do that slower? I don't know. I'd like to see if he could do it slower. But I wouldn't
Yeah.
change a thing.
You know, the funny thing is on all of these, changing the dirt is going to be, that's usually the golden thing to do. How can we change the dirt on this person, right? How can we achieve a earlier edge so that we're not feeling like we're pushing out or we're trying to capture ourselves at the end of the turn? We're doing it earlier. All right. I'm not going to give you, we're going to break out into 3 rooms. I'm going to make this easier. We're all going to look at the same skier. I'm going to give you the same ski performance. I'm going to give you, each group is going to have a different task. And then you're going to discuss amongst yourselves what you think the task is going to be doing in terms of how the body performances and the ski performance is going to change. What would be the more ideal? The situation is pretty easy. It's an 8-year-old girl in the bumps, and she wants to do better bumps.
Now, are we focusing on ski performance or body performance?
The ideal, you're looking for the ideal.
For both.
For both, yes. I need a tie-in. I think it'd be great to tell me, oh, well, she needs to do this, but I really need you to break it into those 2 pieces. Okay? One begets the other. All right? And I'm going to kind of bounce around between 2 different rooms. Dion, you have your room. Okay? And unfortunately, Mike must be still traveling. So I'm going to rely on Katie and Scott in one room to kind of steer the conversation, and Alex and Gay to kind of steer the kids situation, steer the conversation in the other room. And I'm going to bounce back and forth. Okay? Cool? All right, go to your rooms.
Well, one thing to watch out for, if she's completely 50-50 doing a pivot slip, the skis aren't gonna be able to rotate at the same rate. The outside ski is gonna go first and it's gonna be a push out. So it's being able to align to that outside ski to be able to slowly steer the feet.
And maybe have her do some hockey stops first. Get that alignment before going right into pivot slip, which
That's
is
a
a little
good
more
idea.
difficult task.
They give her that transition. That's smart.
How is that gonna affect the skis? And how's that gonna affect her body? What's gonna change in the body? That's gonna affect how the change in the skis are. What's that
Well,
gonna
we
do?
said she would be more counter.
I like that. So what's that gonna spell versus body? What's that gonna allow her body to do? That's gonna control how her skis do it.
Give her more anticipation.
Okay, great,
We're hoping to get upper and lower body separation. So
cool. And what's
more
that gonna
leg
give her?
turning.
And I agree. None of these are wrong. What I'm looking for is why.
To try to get her turning more quickly at the top of the turn rather than the bottom of the turn.
Isn't she already doing that?
To
Right,
some
trying
degree.
to get
versa.
her, we're trying to get her to turn more progressively through the whole turn instead
Cool.
of turning so much at initiation.
Which
What
is,
does she gotta do to do that?
she's got to be more over her ski at initiation, her skis, so that when she starts to tip them, they both tip simultaneously.
Okay.
And when she's
What
square,
body parts is she moving in order to do that?
Right now, she's using her shoulders to turn.
Yes,
And that's why the outside ski rotates first.
right.
What about her
That's the
feet,
body
legs?
performance. Great. That's the observed body performance. What's the new body performance gonna look like?
Her skis will be pulled more under her body at the start of the turn,
Okay,
and there'll be more even edging on both skis as she goes through the turn, assuming we can get her to counter, but that's a different task, right?
is it?
The pivot slip
Well, I
is
guess a
to
pivot
make
slip
counter.
gives you both, maybe.
Yeah. That's why that task was created, right? So we're getting some counter, we're trying to build in some counter. But what is that? I'm being remember, I got to put the examiner hat on, even though I'm not one. I have to look at it from that perspective and say, so cool, she's getting more counter. So,
So you got a leg rotation
oh, good.
under a stable
Upper body, yeah.
body.
Yeah, that's a great common thread.
Yeah.
I like that. Again, what's the body got to do that though?
The femurs have to turn in their hip sockets and the
Cool.
torso has to be stable.
Cool. So we're now tying that to a fundamental, which is rotation,
Yep.
right? So what she's doing now, she's using UBR to turn her body, and she's doing it back and forth because I can see her arms go back and forth, right? What I'd like to see her do is stabilize the upper body, create some separation so that allows her to turn her legs independently, which is going to allow the skis to turn at the same time and rate.
Right. Yeah, okay,
Does you understand?
yeah.
That's tying the new body performance to the new ski performance. Since you guys you went to there, but I heard edging too. Can you do the same thing for edging? Go. I'm going to go join another group. Got to harass them a while.
Wait, what do you mean do the same thing for edging?
We now have an edging performance that somebody said something about edging. It's going to allow that counter is going to allow her to do something with edging. Can you tie a new body performance to a new ski performance like we did with rotation? Yay.
Is starting to guide. Things are guiding around and she's stepping around. She's even if the skis are more traversing across the hill, she's maybe looking where her upper body separating is what I'm from her lower body.
And inclination, and this, I guess, how at the eight, the inclination that I guess
Don't get hung up on that. Okay.
Yeah.
I chose her for her performance. I didn't choose her because I love kids. All right.
I was
Don't
trying
get
to
hung
wow
up
you
on
with
that.
my CS2 stuff.
No, great. I love that you're going there, and I think that's great. But I really want to treat her like she is an adult, please, okay? So this is the benefit of we now have a body performance that we're talking about. We got 1,000 steps as our task. What does that give us? How does that change the body performance that's going to allow us to have a better ski performance? And ideally, tie it to a couple of fundamentals. If
Okay.
you feel rambunctious, tie it to a common thread. If you feel really, really rambunctious, modify the task. So if we're doing 1,000 steps and she's going whatever she's doing in the skis, whatever the observed body performance is, how is that going to change?
Well, we talked about two fundamentals. Scott, can I start?
Sure,
So
go
we talked,
ahead.
we talked about two fundamentals out of the gate, which were fore aft and upper body, lower body rotation.
Cool. Cool. Talk me
And
through that. How is a new body performance going to be different than the old body performance?
well, we're finding that she's very square at the end of her turning, and
Sure.
we're hoping that the 1,000 steps will slow her down in the rotation of the upper body, which is square, and then actually get her skis pointing down the hill and down the fall line if she's focusing on actually stepping through each phase of the turn.
Yeah,
So
because she's
that,
going to go like this, right?
correct.
So she's got to turn one ski and then the other, turn one ski and then the other. That's what 1,000 steps does, right?
In order to pick up that, in her first step, in order to pick up that downhill ski and turn it, her upper body is going to need to be more downhill. She's also going to have to be more centered on her skis, because so that'll help her with her fore aft balance, just in order to be able to pick it up. And then when she puts it down, now we've had some independent leg action here, because she's now going to put her weight on that, pick up the other one, put it down. So she's developing some of that independence in her legs, where she's going from her inside ski to her outside ski.
So let's narrow it really down. How is the body going to do differently in the using 1,000 steps? That's great. That's a great overview. I think that was a great
Right.
overview. Let's tie it back to the body performance.
The summons that will require her to adjust her body to be over the center of the ski.
Cool. How is she going to do that?
By
It's a pressure management. So how do we get pressure management done?
that
Pressure control. I'm sorry, pressure control.
that will start probably with the flex and ankles more.
Yeah. So we're adjusting her
More
ankles, knees, and
flex in
hips,
the
right? And her
ankle, less
joints.
flex in the knees.
Yeah. Cool. Because where is she now?
She's
All
got
the
to
flexes in her knees.
Yeah. And her hips, a little bit in the
Yeah.
hips, almost none in
Right.
the ankles. And that standing on one ski and trying to get it to do what you want it to do, that rotational piece.
Yeah.
It's going to be really, really hard if you're sitting in the back seat.
Right.
So we got to get her centered. And that's the whole point of that drill, is to get her centered, bending the ankles more, taking a little bit of bend out of it, getting her centered over that ski. So where is the ski going to bend?
From the middle.
From the middle instead of the back. That's your new ski performance tied to a body performance. Now do the same thing for rotation using that task. Cool? Does this make sense to you guys?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I really want to drill down to that body ski performance thing. That's what I'm trying to get out of this. We all have this. I think you guys are really, really good at tying what we see to what we want them to do, but we need to really narrow it down to the biomechanics part. All right.
Okay.
I'm going to go to the other room and harass him a while.
Bye.
Bye.
So for the rotation, what I see, and you can leave, Chuck, if you want, but basically
no, that's all right.
rotation, she's very quick, and it's all upper body rotation to start the turn. She can't do that in 1,000 steps.
How are we doing? Are you guys bored? You're already moving on?
No.
Everything's perfect?
I think so. We discussed edging and came up with a task. Gay
Cool.
came up with a good task with doing cowboy railroad
We're not
tracks.
changing the task. We could modify the task.
Oh, wait.
Oh, they're
Yeah,
gonna
Task
keep
is-
pivot slips.
we're
it's a
doing
task
pivot
pivots-
slips.
Oh, I
We
didn't
can
realize we still were doing
modify.
it.
No, we can modify that task. I am asking you, we're stuck with pivot slips. That's what we started with.
We
We can't just,
did.
all right, we're gonna go do something else completely. Can we modify this pivot slips in a way? I mean, what are some variations of pivot slips?
Hockey stops we thought of.
Yeah. Yeah. Hockey slides. Pumpers.
Pumpers?
Pumpers. Tip the
Mm.
knees into the hill, create a little bit of action.
Oh, okay.
They're kind of like a hockey stop, but maybe we pivot, and then we pump a couple of times, and then we rotate to the other side, pump a couple of times. Pumpers.
That's cool.
Yeah. She has to put them on edge and take them off of edge, right? Yeah. Cool. Sounds like you guys are ready. Who's going to be your spokesman? Don't everybody volunteer at once. All right, I'm gonna go to harass the other group real quick, and then I'm gonna go ahead and close all the rooms.
To turn. And we change that from using the upper body rotation to turn the skis quickly, right? Skis follow, to have that upper body turned, then pick up the first ski to turn it, which shows the leg turning under a more stable upper body.
So maybe we
Cool.
could say steering, it's good, the skis will be steering equally throughout all phases of the turn instead of like a quick twist
Yeah,
at the end of at more at the finish of the turn.
right.
That's why
Well, right, the quick twist comes at the top,
Top, yeah.
and then the skis stop at the end. They stop turning at the end.
And skis start at the same time, I would say that you in unison, so to speak. Skis start at the same
Well,
time.
they,
Yep.
Okay.
So instead
So-
of the body turning and then the skis following, the body stays and the skis are able to turn independent.
Yep, but let's dial it back. So we're just talking about that fore aft,
Mhm.
because that's the part we decided he was going to fix.
Right.
So Rebecca, you came up with the idea that we're going to have equal flexion in those joints. So how would we put that into an MA presentation? Coupled with Leonard's, the skis are bent more from the middle all the way around the turn.
Cool. You guys got 1 minute. I like everybody's on the same page. I love it. Let's go.
Okay.
Pick somebody who's going to be your spokesman, not Dion. I know
Somebody
she likes
better
to talk a lot.
volunteer or I pick. And I'm mean, so if you haven't
You
said
got-
anything, that nominates you.
I asked this to the other two groups. You got 2 fundamentals you're looking at?
Um,
A body
we're
ski
actually
performance
talked
for
a
both?
lot about the pressuring, all the pressures,
I love it. Good, cool. Speak
all
to
the
that.
pressures.
All the pressures. I love it. Cool. All right.
Okay. So we're talking about
Wait a minute. What was your task? Because everybody had different
pivot slip.
tasks. Pivot slips. Cool. Go.
All right, we're talking about how being able to maintain counter at the top of the turn by keeping appropriate flexion in the pelvis, being able to rotate from the femurs at a controlled rate. This will slow it down, which will be useful in the pivot slip if we're able to use the pivot slip to focus on that of being able to just slowly rotate from the femurs, having a stabilized upper body, then she'll be able to control her rotation through all phases of the turn.
Cool. Would you modify the task in a way, maybe to achieve something a little
would.
differently?
I would, after I see that she's able to do that pretty successfully, I'd concentrate on during the pivot slip, just having a continuous rate throughout the entire pivot slip, constantly slipping from one side to the other. What that will allow her is to just have even more control of her feet underneath her with her steering, to be able to have more control as she goes through the bumps.
Cool. Dion, you get to play devil's advocate. You're now the secondary examiner. And you get to ask questions.
Wah, ha, 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 ha. So, is there anything else that the skier would get from a pivot slip?
Yes, by being in that being more over her skis in that flex position, she'll be able to align to that outside ski more. And so she will be able to, that will also help control the rate of her rotation, because she's a more over the skis that she slowly turns her lower legs to go through. She'll have more control of how she rotates from turn to turn.
Anything else?
Edging, if now that she's in that position, she'll be able to be, if she's in a position rather than her ski legs being pushed out away from her, she can tip from her lower legs much easier at the top of the turn, and then she's in a position to get her feet back underneath her at the end of the turn.
Anything else?
Magnitude, because they're not being, the skis aren't being pushed away from her as a
Okay,
fast
you
rate.
just
Yeah,
got
that's
sixes. You're good.
Nice job, Alex. All right, somebody else in that group, please. I know you were talking about another fundamental. What was that other fundamental? Did I hear edging? Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody speak to edging.
You want to go, Gay?
I'll try.
Mhm.
The beauty of the pivot slip is allows them to flatten be over their skis at the beginning of the turn without much edge, and progressively edge throughout the turn, and at the bottom to be flattening again. So edging is basically throughout the turn, is just as the degree amount of edging that's used.
Cool. Where does the edging come from in the pivot slip?
Oh, the ankles.
Ankles and what else?
Um,
Kind of moves up the chain, doesn't it?
oh yeah, the knees.
Mhm.
Staying absorbing and extension.
So I'm gonna ask, because you guys are discussing this. How would you have modified the task to be more narrow to edging? The task being pivot slips. What could we do to the task that make it more of an edging exercise?
We were talking about turning it into hockey stops and practicing hockey slips.
Okay.
Gotcha.
How is that going to change the body performance?
It's going to hopefully cause more ankle and knee hipping at the end when you come to the stop in the hockey stop.
All right, cool. How is that going to make her better? I get to play mean stuff to you.
She'll be over her skis at the end of the turn if she's done this right, and able to initiate her new edges at the very beginning of the turn.
How is
Why
she
would
going to
she wanna
initiate
do
the new
that?
edges? Oh, go. Sorry about that.
Why would she want to do that?
Do what? To tip her skis at the beginning of the turn?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, she looks like she's getting down the bumps just fine.
I'm confused. I don't know where we're going with this.
Oh, no, no, no. She's trying to throw you a sidebar. Keep arguing your argument. You said she'll be able to tip the skis by flattening them earlier in the turn.
Yes.
Why is that important?
It'll keep her more forward and more
Uh-huh.
able to initiate her new turn more easily.
Okay, and why, what's that gonna give her?
Allow her to initiate the turn easily so she doesn't have as much up and down movement.
All right. When is she, I'm gonna throw this out. If she tips her skis earlier in a turn, when is the grip gonna start happening?
Earlier.
Earlier.
What's that gonna give her?
More
This goes
edge
back
is-
to magnitude.
Oh,
Yeah,
it'll allow her more control early in the turn, so she
Mhm.
won't be bracing against her outside skis later in the turn to gain better control.
yeah. Yeah, trust me, an examiner will probably ask you that exact same question, so don't let it throw you. Right?
Can
It's
you
like,
repeat the
uh-oh.
answer to that?
She said that, well, go ahead, Gay, you say it again.
If she begins tipping her skis early in the turn, it'll allow her to stay more on top of her skis, so near the edge of the turn, she'll be able to complete it to start the new turn. She'll be, I don't know, that's not what I said the first time, but it'll also allow her to control her extension and how do you say it? I
And
don't use
flex.
these words 9 months a year. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I know.
I think what you said was it'll allow her to control the bottom of the turn without pushing that outside leg out away from her to
Oh.
break.
Thank you.
And
There
that,
we
with
go.
that, when you said it, it made a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah, what do we
Laura, you
always want to
get-
do? What's the number
that was
one thing
really
we want to
clear.
do in the bumps?
Thank
What's
you.
the number one thing we want to do in the bumps?
Control.
Speed
Control. Did anybody ever stand at the top of a hill and go, gee, you know what I need to do in the bumps is go a whole lot faster?
70 bump skiers, yeah.
Yeah, no.
Me,
Right?
me.
It's a very specialized
Yeah.
group. We're not going to
Me
include those.
following
Most
Dion.
people stare at it and goes, holy crap, I need to go a lot slower. And if I can get grip early in the turn by tipping my legs earlier, I'm going to slow myself down. And it's not going to be like a whole lot at the end of the turn. All right.
Yeah, it'll be less.
It also gives
Yeah.
you a lot of choices to shape your line.
True.
Because right now she's very much the skis pivot and then they kind of get pushed sideways down the nose of the bump. Like the tips of her skis hit the middle of the bump. So she's stuck in that one line.
Yeah. All right, cool. We got 2 other groups to go through. That was great. That was good. That was a very, very good start. Alex was, that was good. Don't do that anymore. All right, group 2, we got BH, Katie, Roman, and Scott. And what was your task and who's going to sprechen Sie?
Our
I don't know.
task was 1,000 steps.
Cool.
Oh, I would have used
I can start.
Go
I don't know
ahead.
where's Scott? I don't.
Sorry,
He's
I
there.
was on mute.
Oh.
I just got off, so.
We took a look at this 1,000 steps as assisting her with 2 fundamentals.
Cool.
So
Let's just, you focus on one.
okay. I am going to focus on the fore aft
Good.
part of the 1,000 steps task. So number 1, we thought that this would help her be able to get more centered over her skis so that she can direct pressure along the length of the skis, especially by helping her to step through each phase of the turn. Right now, there's a very quick rushing which because she's sitting in the back seat, so there's a quick up and down movement, and the pressure is stuck in the back and the tails of her skis. So we're hoping that the 1,000 steps will help her body performance adjust so that she's got more flexed ankles and she's able to maintain a more centered position throughout each phase of a turn.
And that's going to allow her skis to do what?
That is going to allow her skis to more bend in the center of the skis versus in the tails of the skis. So she'll be able
Cool.
to direct pressure along the skis and hopefully be able to get more pressure through the front of the ski at the top of the turn.
Cool. Why is that important?
Why is that important?
Yep.
Because right now, since she's stuck in the back of her skis, it's affecting her ability to
Because of turn.
create a turn shape that's correct. So she's going to be tossed around in a mogul field because she's in the tails of her skis. So it'll tie into the second fundamental, especially where Scott will pick up because she's in the back seat with an open ankle more at the finish of her turn. She's got flexed knees, open ankles, and then she's going to have to rely on more upper body rotation to swing herself around.
All right. So if she's more centered in her skis, what's that going to allow her to do?
It's going to
how
give her
is
more
that? Okay.
it's going to give her more speed control and choices in the bumps.
And maybe activate some other fundamentals?
Yeah, it's going to play into every fundamental, especially with ski-snow interaction. She'll be able to manage her pressure better, where she can also rotate more quickly through the top of the turn versus being twisted around. Like her skis will be able to steer more in control versus a quick twist of the upper body. Before I dig a hole, I'm not quite sure what you're asking me.
I think the simple answer, and this is a Jim Shaw thing, it's just going to give you more options.
I said that,
Yeah.
didn't I?
Yeah.
Oh, then
Just
I should
keep
have
it
stopped
simple.
talking.
Yeah. Stop talking. Stop
But
talking. It's going to
you were
allow you
just
to give
sitting there
more
going
options.
like this, so I kept talking.
Well, I think you're right. I mean, you know, in these situations we're under the pressure, you got a gun pointed at your head and you're like, oh my God, what I got to say the right thing. You know, I mean, without giving away the farm and talking about all the other fundamentals, just say, hey, it's going to allow her to have more options. Tipping,
Okay.
turning, you know, balance, blah, 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 whatever.
Yeah,
Grip,
tip turning and
however you want
steering.
to take. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. All right, Scott, you're going to take up the second fundamental.
Right. So the second fundamental we thought for the 1,000 steps was the rotation.
Mm-hmm.
And currently she's using kind of whole body, upper body rotation with that quick turn at the top, and the skis basically turn quickly at the top and stop turning at the finish. And what this will do for her is when she's, in order to pick up that inside ski at the start of the 1,000 steps and be able to actually turn it down the fall line, she's going to have her upper body pointed somewhat downhill in order to make that happen. And because she makes that quick upper body rotation, doing 1,000 steps, it'll slow down that rotation. Instead of have it happening all at once, she'll have to pick up your ski and step them through the turn. She's going to have more consistent rotation in her upper body. And so that'll at least get her started pointing downhill at the beginning. And it'll also help her with doing more rotation with her feet and legs. So the idea is upper bodies, you know, that the threat of having counter through transition, that will work on that. And it also will help her with flex and extend the legs independently, because in order to do 1,000 step, you've got to shorten that inside leg to pick it up, then put it down by extending
I think you
it.
got your turn signal on there.
What's that?
Just stick with rotational part.
Okay,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
are we looking for her to rotate the legs independently of each other? That's a
no,
very leading question.
no, we're not, but we're trying to get her to have her upper body for that counter through transition is the common thread. So we're
Mhm.
trying to get her to have that upper body facing downhill at the start of the turn instead of turning it. We want it to already be there. So in order to pick up that ski, we've got to have that upper body pointed downhill, and that's going to help her with that.
Okay. So from a body performance, talk me through that body performance thing again. If we
So
have
from
if we
body
have
performance,
separation, what's going on?
right? So from the separation standpoint, stepping through the turn's going to help her have her upper body in a countered position at the start, facing somewhat downhill. So when she picks
Sure.
up her ski, her picks up her inside ski to turn it, she's able to actually do that and have it turn. And as you step through the turn, that counter helps her do that.
All right, Dion, you want to take over? So I'm gonna add
No.
this in. I'm gonna add this in. 1,000 steps is independent leg rotation. You have to be able to rotate one leg at a time because you can't rotate the leg that's on the ground. So it promotes an independent leg rotation.
Or if you don't use independent leg rotation, you will end up with a wedge.
Yes,
With a what?
A
with a
wedge.
wedge.
Oh, right.
You might end up with a divergence in 1,000 steps, and that's okay.
You're going to get a divergence in that 1,000 steps. That's
Like
just the
a
nature of the game.
noticeable one, but
Yeah,
you don't want a
Right.
notable convergence.
right.
So that's interesting because you're right. You can't do it without independent leg rotation, but
Mhm.
I'm thinking of there's no common thread that talks about independent leg rotation.
Stable
It
upper body
does.
promotes lower body mobility.
Yes, it does, but it doesn't specifically say you must have independent leg rotation.
It does
Right.
say both skis are guided simultaneously into the turn or steered, depending on which version of it you read. And that happens only with independent leg rotation. If you pivot and use your hips, they're not guided or steered, they're slipped.
So when you say independent leg rotation, you're talking about each one rotating independently.
Yes.
And so now I'm a little bit confused because the common thread says skis are guided into the turn simultaneously or somewhere along those lines. That requires simultaneous leg rotation to do
But
that, not independent.
independent of the upper body.
Right, right, exactly.
Actually, and I'm gonna point this out to you. One of them turns this way and the other one turns this way. One of them
True,
turns outwardly and the other one
right,
turns inwardly.
that's true.
Yeah.
That's the independent leg rotation.
Okay,
Instead of this and then this, it is
right,
this. Does that make
yeah,
sense?
yeah,
And that's the whole point of 1,000 steps is I have to rotate this one outwardly in order before I rotate this one inwardly. And it's a step, right? So we step around. I got and that's that independent leg rotation. Make sense?
so that's what the discussion should be on. It shouldn't be about upper body versus leg rotation. It just should be about independent leg rotation.
Well, you're noticing a theme. Everybody's kind of pointing at the same things because they're pretty damn obvious. But yes, in your case, I'm going to say 1,000 steps was creating what kind of a body performance that we were trying to really achieve. And that is independent leg rotation throughout the turn.
Okay.
How
Yep.
do you get independent leg rotation when you're kind of facing, when your skis are in the fall line? Is it because you're still moving fast and it's subtle?
But this independent
You've already
rotation-
started turning them. And an object that is in motion remains in motion until it's acted upon.
Okay.
Right, and once you're in the fall line and you want to get out of the fall line, you have to turn one ski, you know, you have to start turning your skis.
Yeah, I
So,
guess you're right.
So yeah, you have to think about why do we use UBR? Because it's a very powerful movement and it starts the skis moving. And once the skis are starting to rotate, until you run out of range of motion, they're going to continue to rotate.
Could
That's
you,
why
well,
steering is important.
I was asking that question because if I was going to modify the task, I would
Yes.
think about maybe playing around with like alternating it between regular skiing and 1,000 steps. So
Yeah.
like I might have her step in the fall line and then rotate around, you know, or like step at only a few parts of the turn, like start
Well-
stepping at the top, then ski around the bottom or play around with that.
I love that idea, right? Have her step the top part of the turn and then steer the bottom part of the turn.
Right.
And then tell me the differences that she notices, right?
Right.
How hard is it to step the top of the turn? It's actually pretty easy because you're not really feeling any pressure. And then
Right.
maybe reverse it. Okay, now I want you to steer the top of the turn and step the bottom of the turn.
Oh, that's very
That
hard.
means it's going to be hard. Yeah. And the reason why is because all the pressure's at the bottom. So now we have to be accurate at the top to make sure that the bottom part isn't too crazy, right? We're not creating a big giant hockey slide. And we're
Right.
continuing to allow the skis to steer the bottom of the turn. Because what she's doing is pivoting real quick and then stopping. And then it's just like a slide, right? I
Right.
want her to do this. That's going to allow her to do this, or maybe this, or be able to steer the skis when she wants, how she wants, and when at the speed that she wants. Right now, there's not a whole lot of options. It's just a series of like stem hockey slides.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Everybody cool on that?
Yeah.
I'm always open to questions. All right.
Chuck, I just want to be clear on the independent
Yeah.
turning. So there's really two different applications. One is legs turning independent of the upper body, which is what we
Yes.
talk about all the time. And the other one is turning independently of each other, because biomechanically, even though your skis are turning the same directions, your legs are actually, your hips are turning differently, because one's turning out and one's turning in.
One's going to be turning out. If you have a stable pelvis, one's going to
Right.
be turning out and one's going to be turning in. What is
And
she doing?
you're calling that
She's
independent.
She's moving the whole pelvis, which is pointing to skis. She's not doing any of this. She is literally moving the
Right.
whole pelvis,
Right.
right? So she's not creating any independent leg motion. She hasn't got a feel for it because she hasn't stabilized the pelvis.
Yeah. Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
Cool. All right. Last group. Group 3. Oh my God. It's just down to Leonard. What happened? They all bailed on you.
They're all scared.
oh
What can I
my
say?
gosh. I think
right.
I have to go. I got someplace to be.
Nah, too bad. Too sad.
Yeah, see you later, alligator.
Oh, there's Rebecca.
Exactly.
She's there too.
I'm like, Rebecca's still here. I just went through and looked.
Yay.
It's
All right,
just,
who's gonna-
I'm
what do you guys-
invisible.
All right. So you had a task. What was your task?
Leapers.
Leapers. Yeah, cool. I
Boy.
know that Dion got a big smile on her face when I said leapers. All right. So talk me through it. Pick a fundamental that you guys talked about and tell me what the body change is going to be for leapers. For those of you who don't know what leapers is, it means a kind of a very quick extension at the top where the skis actually leave the snow. If they're ideal, there should be a little bit of tipping and turning in the air.
Mm-hmm.
For an 8-year-old, that might not be as achievable as we think. Go.
So, the main, I think, benefit of leapers is edging
Okay,
and changing edges and also fore aft.
all right. So which one are you going to talk about?
I'm going to start with fore aft because you know that's always my.
No, I think you should do edging.
Okay. All right, you want to be perverse? I'll be perverse.
I know. I need you to stretch and grow. Yes, go.
Yeah. So with leapers, essentially, when you leap off the ground, theoretically, in the ideal, a leaper is you change edges on the air and land in the new edges, sort of to finish the turn on the new edges.
Yes.
What we talked about is we're going to have this young person do hops, and essentially that is going to get the body positioned and stacked so that
Oh, we're putting on the old left turn signal again. Let's stick with edging. So how is she going to change edges while she's in the air? And speak to body and ski. Well, we already know it. We already want the skis to edge simultaneously and in the air, right? In a new direction.
well, in order to, I'm sorry, but in order to do that, she's got to be in the proper athletic position. Otherwise, she's not going to be able to do that.
Granted, if she's already in the new, you've achieved that. You've got her in the new athletic position. She's starting to do leapers. How is she exchanging edges?
By twisting the ankles, by tipping the ankles.
Tipping the ankles from one direction to the other? Is it
From
just
one
going to be the ankles?
Well, ankles, knees go together, but essentially tipping the ankles and the feet to the other direction so that you can land on the new edge, the new
Cool.
edges.
Cool. How much? Throw some dirt in there for me.
Very
a
little,
lot of tipping, a little tipping.
just a little tipping.
Oh, okay. So when is she going to have more edges?
At the bottom of the turn.
As she continues, once she lands, then she can develop more edge
Okay. How is she going to do that?
by continuing to tip the legs
And
and the ankles.
cool. Dion, go. Well, you already talked to her about it. Let's just.
So
All right. I'm going to ask a question. What's that going to give her? Why is it important that she does leapers to adopt more tipping at the top of the turn?
Because if you start early edging at the a turn initiation, that allows her to have more options to be able to rotate at the end of the turn and have better control of speed and direction.
I think the bottom part of that, the last part of that was probably more important than the rotational part, than the options part. She's going to be able to grip more, right? Earlier, because she's already on edge.
Yes.
Yes. No?
Yes.
Indifferent? Right.
No, that's what I'm saying, but you're
Yeah.
saying it better.
I'm saying it in different ways. Yes. All right, cool. Leonard?
I would just say you could also argue this in terms of pressure control or rotation.
Yeah.
The same task could accomplish those just as well.
Ooh. So pick one and
Let's say
tell me
pressure
about
control.
that. All right, cool. I love it. Go.
Well, in the way that she's skiing now, her pressure is at the end of the turn, as you pointed out, and it's back. So getting her balanced over the ski as she begins to leap, will allow, she'll have a kind of sudden extension, but then a gradual, as she lands, she's going to have a flex down into her ankles, knees, and hips. And that continues, that allow her to have control as she comes around the turn. So she'll be
Okay.
bending the ski sooner. She'll be bending the ski at initiation rather than at the end of the turn.
How is she gonna bend the skis earlier in the turn?
How is she's going
Yeah.
to, she's going to,
I'm looking for depth of knowledge now. Cause
she's
I'm
going to,
hearing,
yeah,
I'm
sorry.
hearing it in a specific way. I'm looking for more.
Well, she's going to have a rapid extension. Is that, am I
Sure.
on the right track? So
I think that's a good, accurate description. Yes.
yeah, she's going to have a rapid extension of her ankles, knees, and hips, which is going to pressure the ski at that moment,
Okay.
which is early in the turn.
So can you tie in what Rebecca said and make it something about what's happening in the later part of the turn? She's talking about tipping.
Sure. So as she comes down and she begins to flex into the turn, as she continues to flex, she's essentially getting more edging and able to complete the turn as she increases the degree of ankle in her ankles and ankles and knees.
Retract, extend, retract.
No,
I'm okay.
So
That's better. I like
Leonard?
how you tied the edging to the flexing, but now I need some dirt to kind of explain that piece to me, because if we get too flexed, edging is gone.
right. So she's going to come down and gradually she's going to absorb the landing, and then she's going to gradually flex as the turn continues. As she comes across the fall line, she'll be gradually flexing as she's continuing her edging, which will allow her to have speed control at the end of the turn and not such a rapid deceleration of speed. She'll be able to control that degree of speed. So it's going to slow down. She's going to increase. She's going to have a quick extension when she's doing the leaper, but that'll also allow her to have a slower, more gradual flexing and edging at the middle and end of the turn.
Okay, so how is that flexing and edging? How is that flexing at the end of the turn allowing her to do the pressure management piece?
As the pressure builds
regulating
up at
pressure
the end of the
through.
turn, as the pressure builds up in the end of the turn, she's able to absorb it by flexing in her legs.
Retraction. Yeah.
Retraction.
All right, cool. I don't think that's a bad answer, to be honest with you, but I'm going to throw some stuff at you. All right. Pressure management, or regulating the magnitude of pressure through ski snow interaction, is literally not about pressure. Pressure is a thing, but it's how we perceive the pressure. Okay. So unfortunately, everybody, when they hear that statement, they always tend to focus on, I need to regulate the pressure. But the first sentence in the technical manual says the easiest ways for us to regulate the pressure is through edging and rotation. Okay. So yes, we could mitigate the feeling of pressure by flexing throughout the turn, but it's really the edging and rotation that create or dissipate pressure. Does that make sense? And I want you to think about it. This is the way that I suddenly had my eureka moment. Think about a hockey stop, okay? Where is the most pressure that you feel?
At the bottom.
Right
At the
before I
bottom.
stop.
Right before you
Yeah,
stop, right?
right,
And
right.
which way are your skis pointed when that happens? Are
Across
they
the
pointed
hill.
downhill? Pointed across the hill. Do we have a lot of edge or a little bit of edge?
A lot of
A lot
it.
of edge.
Right. So if we point the skis in a different direction than their travel
See.
and we put them on edge, what do you think the pressure is going to do?
Right. Increase.
It's going to increase.
Right.
So the regulating pressure thing is not about creating pressure through me pushing.
Right.
It's about adjusting the edge and the direction of travel so I don't feel it as much.
I see.
So that
So I'm
idea of
balanced against it.
you're balancing against, you have to have it. And that's why I like the term grip when we're talking about it. The grip is the outcome for that. I want to feel grip earlier in the turn because the gripping part is a function of that rotation and edging, right? We're always going to have some kind of pressure. If the snow is on the ground, there's always going to be some kind of bending happening. But if I can get a grip, that grip earlier in the turn allows me to mitigate the pressure throughout the turn.
Well,
Okay?
also,
To me, you're not exactly mitigating the pressure. You're dealing with the pressure and balancing against it, right? Because
You have
you
to
can't
balance.
mitigate it. The pressure is there.
The pressure is there, right? But how
I-
much pressure we have is about how we adjust all those dials,
Hey,
right?
Leonard, maybe not even balancing against it,
The gate.
maybe accepting it.
Right. I just mean as opposed to if you didn't have as much edge and you have all that, that gravitational pressure, your skis just start to slide down. So you're in a stable position because you've got that edge. And that's what I mean by balancing against it. Because you're in a stable position.
Right.
So I'm just gonna mention when I say balance against, anytime I use the word against, it's going to encourage push and resist.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not actually trying to resist the pressure. And I'm not creating pressure.
Right, to avoid the term. I kind of meant
Yeah.
just standing balanced, but I see what you mean, that if you say balance against, it gives someone the impression that they have to push their skis out.
It also creates then the opportunity for people to ask you things that might lead you in a direction where you start talking about extending to an edge
Mm.
or flexing to an edge or down on weighting and up on weighting.
Yeah.
And that is the way an examiner will hand you a shovel, and they are not going to hand you a ladder.
And they're going to let you just dig that hole deep.
So
So
Dion, what was the way that you said when instead of balancing against, what was the term you used?
I used accepting the pressure.
and for me,
As you
and-
know, gravity's always there. And I'm going to accept the pressure that comes from applying my edges until it redirects me. And then I don't need it anymore.
right.
So I get myself in a position ready to accept the next amount of pressure that I'm going to have come to me from the hill and from how my skis interact with the hill. Not because I am so monstrously strong that I push on the mountain, make it bend my skis.
Yeah. So that's the difference between a turn and a hockey stop. A turn is I'm going to rotate the skis and I'm going to edge the skis simultaneously and then allow the pressure that builds to make the ski bend and then take me in a new direction. Hockey stops are the quintessential push, push, push. Right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
So,
yes.
and I want to round this circle a little bit. So the explanation that I was looking for was because she's getting early edging in the turn, that's allowing her to grip it higher, which means now she's taking the pressure and rolling it through the turn instead of turning her skis all at once at the end of the turn where she feels the most amount of pressure. Okay. That's the tie-in that I was looking for between what Rebecca said about the leaper getting up in the air and then you land on the new edge and then it takes you around. That whole idea of getting on the new edge is what's going to allow you to mitigate that pressure. Take it through the turn instead of having it all happen at the end of the turn. So
It's like
and
peanut
that-
butter, spread it out.
Yeah, don't worry, man. Everybody at your level is always thinking about that fifth fundamental as flexion and extension. And there are important pieces to that, because frankly, a leaper is a whole lot of pressure at the top of the turn because you're leaping, but it's also about mitigating the pressure through edging and rotation and not necessarily through flexing and extending. Cool. So this is a good educational movement. Hopefully you got that and you won't forget it.
Hopefully.
Chuck,
Hopefully. Yes, ma'am.
can I try to rephrase that because I want to make sure I understand? So
Mhm.
you do, yes, we flex and extend to facilitate the turn, but more importantly, because that's where I'm stuck. Because when you retract and you leap up,
Yep.
you're facilitating earlier edging initiation, I guess. And then
Right.
when you extend, you're mitigating the pressure by
Okay, so the leaper is just a task, and we don't want to talk about the part where you leap in the air, because obviously if you leap, you're jumping and there's a whole lot of
Yeah, yeah.
pressure leaving the ground. The point of the leaper is that we're on old edges here and we're going this way,
Yeah.
and then we leap, and the idea is I am now going to land on new edges and have them slightly turned in a new direction. So when I
Right.
land, I'm already on the new edges and I'm already starting to go in a new direction. Okay. So in terms of pressure, regulating that magnitude of pressure, I'm already starting to build pressure, but I'm doing
Okay,
it with an edge ski and not trying to push the skis.
I
Okay.
see.
So I'm
Right.
doing the edge ski. The edge ski is going to allow the ski to bend because that's the natural tendency on an hourglass shape. And then I build the pressure, and then I don't feel as much pressure at the end of the turn because a lot of things are already happened at the top of the turn.
I see. Okay.
Jim
I
Shaw,
know
is
that's a lot.
anything you don't do at the top, you have to do at the bottom.
True.
And that's like 99% of our public that we teach.
Everything's
Dirty
at the
tail
bottom.
pushers, everything's always at the bottom, right? And how do they learn that? By watching everybody else do it at the top of it on a lift. That's why, hey, all I like to say is that's what keeps us employed.
Right.
All right, cool.
It's nearly 10 o'clock
It
in my
is.
neck of the woods. So, Lenny, are
5
you
minutes,
in the new ballroom?
Am I in the new
Oh.
ballroom? Yes, definitely. This is the
Oh.
new 90,000 square foot ballroom.
There's not enough white, not enough gold. Quickly, 5 minutes. What were
Okay,
some key moments for you? What'd you get out of tonight? Tell us, speak to us, give us some feedback. Was it good, bad, indifferent, sucked?
Well, given that I really hate leapers, it made me think a lot about what the benefits of leapers are and what they're useful for, and made me think more about edging than I normally do.
Cool.
I like the idea, the talk about pressure control, meaning you're not controlling the pressure, you're
managing.
the pressure is, the pressure is what the pressure is, and you're figuring out a way to use it productively to get the outcome that you want.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. I like that. Go with that for when you go to skis. All right. I'm looking for more feedback on what we did tonight. Was this useful?
Yes.
Yes. Was the tying a part of it? Did we beat that a little too much for you, or did you feel like you had? I felt like guys had good control of, especially after I kind of narrowed you down, but of the body and the ski performance. I heard mostly good stuff there.
Yeah, it was really cool to think about the body, going in it from a body approach, and then also to see how the ski would change. And like, I like how you said in our group, you said ideally tie it to two fundamentals, ideally to a common thread, and then ideally modify a task.
Yeah.
So that kind of simplifies it. We still need you guys to ask the leading questions to get us there, but this is practice to then take it into the task and modify a task is super helpful.
Yeah.
Because not just movement analysis. It's like, well, then what outcome are you looking to change, and what's ideal versus real? So I think it's starting to become a little clearer.
Cool.
And what I really loved is that we all sort of modified the performance using different tasks.
Mhm.
That we get to achieve the same changes in performance using different tasks.
Cool. Good.
I'm with
Good.
Rebecca. I thought that was really helpful because it was the same issue, but with different tasks, a different focus.
And then we can choose which task will work better.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
And working within one task and how you could modify it too, it's also beneficial.
And you feel
And
like that's
it
yeah.
gives you a tool. If one task isn't working, you can do one of these other ones.
Yeah.
There is no one task for anything.
It was also helpful like earlier in the call when you threw in the reverse javelins, like leapers, reverse javelins, some of those harder tasks I would never want to go to. But now I'm starting to understand how they work at some of these, especially with a higher level skier. So
Yeah.
that was helpful for me.
You could
Yeah.
even do a javelin turn in 1,000 steps, kind of break it down, make it easier on like blue or green terrain. Because javelin's level 3, but you could make it you could incorporate it into a 1,000 step drill and accomplish it in slow-mo kind of.
Yeah, like by varying these tasks, like I really never thought about 1,000 steps as independent leg motion. That was big aha for me.
And I like combination of solid step and stork, stork turns.
Mhm.
That's I think that will work pretty well in a lot of cases.
It does help in a lot of cases. Don't let it become your life though.
Yes.
You know how much people like to do outside ski turns? They hate doing ski turns. Is that the music to send us out the?
Sorry, that was me. God, I was like, what is that
That was our
music?
send off music.
That was perfect timing. It's like
Some ad.
That was
That
me
was
after
much as
too
I
many
like that
outside ski
music.
turns.
It's like, where is that
Yeah.
coming?
No, I think outside ski turns are really, really good things to do, but everybody hates them and they hate them for a reason. You know, it's kind of like white pass turns. They sound really good and they sound really useful. And then when you get into them, they're like, oh my God, I never want to do these again. Give me something easy. So, but good. All right. Any other comments before I close out?
I just had a question I wanted to put to the group. You all heard us do all the different tasks, going to be assigned a different task to each group. If instead of doing these separately, he'd given you a list of these tasks. So pivot slips, leapers, 1,000 steps. What would you think he was working on?
Using all three?
Yeah, if you just use all three, what do they really have in common that you might be like, okay, I think he's doing X. We're trying to fix X. Because I don't try and fix everything a skier does in a lesson. I pick one thing. Yes, it impacts secondary things. There's other skills that are always there, but I'm aimed at something.
Edging.
What was the third? It was 1,000 steps, leapers, and what?
Pivot
Pivot
slips.
slips.
Pivot slips, right.
Maintaining counter at transition.
Ooh.
That's a possibility, but that's a common thread. What blend of the skills do you think he's aiming at?
Magnitude of pressure and edging.
Those are the fundamentals.
Uh,
What'd you guys mostly talk about? And this was pretty ubiquitous through the groups.
The
For
center positioning of center mass over the middle
That's,
ski.
that's a fundamental.
That's we a lot
So
of
we have
we're
that.
doing a lot about that.
We talk mostly
Yeah.
about control, like having options or control from the top of the turn and like being able to maintain
Cool.
pressure throughout the turn, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because my initial response when I heard all three of the tasks was, okay, we're going to talk about, we're looking at the skier's rotary movements and we're looking at the pressure movements because their pressure movements are in the wrong place. So they can't do the rotary movements. That was my initial thought when I heard all three, because that's what all three of those tasks have in common.
Can you
They
say that
all
again?
work your, that the main focus was actually rotary. But to get to the skier's rotary movements, I had to correct
The pressure.
their fore aft, and ski to ski pressure movements.
The pressure comes after fore aft. If you don't have fore aft properly,
They are not done that way. I hate to break it to you. They are not in order.
They're not in order.
Because
However,
my rotary movements can cause me to move back.
Mhm.
Just because I'm back doesn't mean that that's the primary thing.
You
It can
can
be a
sit-
secondary thing. It can
you
be,
can still rotate when you sit back. Yeah.
yeah, it can be an effect, not a cause. It can be a symptom.
Right.
And honestly, all of you guys picked up, every group picked up the same thing.
Yeah, we
Because she
all,
has the ability to have her butt, her seat over her feet, she has the ability to do edging, rotation, and all the other things. And the tasks are specifically designed to get her seat over her feet so we can start talking about other things. So
so
yes, it's in the pressure realm, but don't get focused on the pressure. Oh my God, she's back. Well,
no, the
that's
task
a
fixed the
result.
pressure right away,
Yeah. The
right? As soon as I
result
have to
is,
hop, I've fixed my pressure.
Yeah.
I don't even have to talk about standing with my seat over my feet. I just set a condition which fixes it. And we're not even going to talk about it for the rest of the day.
Yep.
We're going to talk about the other stuff that makes skiing way more interesting.
And when I had racing kids, you know, my warm-ups drills were
Oh, I know this one.
Leapers and outside ski turns.
nope. Bunny
Hop.
hops,
Bunny hops.
1,000 steps, skate turns.
Skate
Bunny
turn.
hops, 1,000 steps, skate turns. They're basically the same kind of thing we just did, just different variations. Bunny hops are just all the way through the turn, but same thing. I have to land and I have to go up and I have to rotate, but I have to be in the center of the ski to do that. 1,000 steps are just stepping it.
Yeah,
And
otherwise
skate
I
turns
can't
are
step my
literally,
feet.
skate turns are literally just a higher edge and I'm just stepping up the hill. And then I go to the other side and I start stepping up the hill again. And what am I teaching? I'm teaching them to be balanced over their skis. I'm teaching them to use the outside ski, and I'm teaching them to be independent with their leg rotation.
How are the leapers a rotation? I would think it's more flexion, extension, and edging. I
Well,
mean, I know you got to
have to-
rotate you have to rotate your femurs and your hip sockets to change edges in the air.
yeah.
Is
But
that how?
how do we
Which-
do that?
If I'm getting it leg turning and edging, still use my femurs for both movements. The difference is whether my feet follow my femurs or not. So if I
Okay.
don't let my feet follow my femurs, but I turn my femurs, it's going to turn my knees to the outside, but my feet stay inside. Well, that's an edging movement, but it's still my femurs. If I let my feet follow my femurs, then my legs turn. The whole leg turns. The muscle groups are the same. Yes, I can use the little muscles in my ankle, can use my talus joint. My knee doesn't turn. It doesn't work that way. The joint is a hinge joint. It only flexes and extends in one direction. Does not turn to the side.
Right, but I'm
Unless you-
thinking when you do a leaper, you're not rotating your skis.
See, this is the difference.
So
Let's go back to what the leaper is trying to teach. And
Right,
this is,
so-
you guys talked about this. We
Changing
need to be
edges.
in a countered position in order to do it. We create torque at the end of the turn by having our skis rotate against our body. What happens when we leap?
if
The
I'm
ski-
this and I leap, it's going to realign.
They're going to realign again. That's where that rotation comes from.
So it's this much rotation, Scott. It's not huge.
Okay,
It's this much.
I need to be in a countered position. And when I leap, that's gonna,
So you could
my,
create that
my
torque.
skis are gonna align with my upper body
Mhm.
by rotating at the hips, and that's how it
Yes.
becomes a rotation.
By the
Yes.
femurs rotating, not by
Right,
the
I
hips
get it.
rotating.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
So, and
Yeah.
it's this much.
No,
But the
yeah,
edging movement the femurs make when I actually bring my femurs from pointing in this direction to pointing in that direction for my knees to switch, there
yeah,
is a slight rotary thing that happens with my feet. It's going to be really small.
right.
And that's what, you'll hear people talk about steering angle. That's how that's created. It happens through edge change because I'm actually turning my femurs from one way to another way, and they actually move along an arc.
Yeah.
So it's a really small movement. I tend not to focus on that part. I focus on the fact that you're moving your femurs from one side to another,
Right.
which is what I would like people to do when they turn their legs.
Yeah.
I just want them to turn their feet too.
But it comes from the same spot. It's
But it
that
comes from the
release.
same spot.
So just, I'm getting there. So is a leaper primarily a rotary? Or is it edging? Or is it
It's
flex and
both.
extend?
So
It's
it's
both.
actually one of those blended things.
Yeah.
So it's a bunch of stuff mixed together.
Okay,
It's not as blended as, say, basic parallel, because I
right,
turn the dial up. Depending on how you do it, you either turn the dial up on how much pressure you allow to build at the bottom of the turn. So you change your dirt on your pressure management for like when you start to flatten your edges. Instead of starting to flatten my edges, I hang on to them for a second and then flatten and re-engage all at once. So I turn that dirt up in one place in a leaper and then proceed through the turn. So that's where you get the pressure is actually from changing your dirt on your edging through transition. I don't start lowering until all at once and I re-engage. So you're just messing with your dirt. So it's an adaptability piece. It also works your fore-aft balance. It also works your ski-to-ski balance. You can't do a leaper if you are inclined.
You fall.
You fall. You can't really do a leaper.
All right.
If you're aft, you'll land on flat skis.
All right. So it's 5 after 9. I want to briefly go over next week, but I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. So thank you everybody for coming tonight.